Hello everybody, welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. I am the Touchscreen Master, and today we will be doing a review on the M6 Jackson, one of two Tier 6 American tank destroyers. So to start off, I'm going to summarize this thing in a couple of good things and a couple of bad things about it. First off, I'll give you the health of this thing. It's 850 hit points, as you can see down there on the bottom of the video. Good thing number one, the armor is good, not thick. Frontally it says it's 114, but really, if you look at the front of this thing, the front of the hole is split into two parts, the upper glacis and the lower glacis. The upper glacis is not 114, it's more like 76 millimeters thick. And the lower glacis, which kind of has these rounded things that the drive wheels go into, that's where it's 114, so not quite as good as it seems. The turret frontally is 76 millimeters, and the mantlet pretty much surrounds the whole front of the thing, so that's very nice. And just about everywhere else on the tank is 25 millimeters of armor, so it doesn't sound very good. And as I said, it's not thick. So why is it good if it's not that thick? Well, look at the way the armor is shaped. Not including the front, because obviously that's sloped, but the sides and the rear of the hull are actually sloped at an angle too. And what this means is that even if the side of your tank is pointing at an enemy, the armor is never flush on with them unless they're slightly above you, because it's pointed at an angle down. And what that means is that even though your armor is really thin in the sides and rear, they can't pump HE into your side as easily and do full damage, which is especially good if it's a KV2, because you don't want to be one shot. And most likely, with the way this armor is, you won't be one shot. Now, even though your frontal armor is not that thick, you can actually put it to quite good use. What you do is you angle it up really steep and come out just a little bit, and you keep wiggling back and forth, and so all they can see is that sharply angled upper and lower glacis. And as you saw a bit earlier in this clip, hopefully, you can often get bounces from enemies, especially if you go unspotted like that, which is really nice. And that's pretty much what you want to do. I guess you could try to side scrape in this thing, but the armor on the sides is not really thick, so you probably don't want to try it. Another good thing about this tank destroyer is that it's the only one at Tier 6 besides the Hellcat to have a turret, which means it's very easy to make a shot like that happen without having to turn your hull. Keep in mind, though, that while it is a turreted tank destroyer, the turret is pretty slow turning either way. The next good thing about this tank is Lagoon. The gun is very nice. It has an average alpha damage of above 200. Sometimes it dips down below that, but most often you can expect to do 200 plus. The penetration goes up to 200, so not bad at all. You can penetrate just about everything with no issues. So, that's about all the good things about this tank. Now, what's bad about it? Well, obviously the armor is good, but it's not thick. As I said before, it's 25 everywhere else besides the front of the turret and the hull, which means anything with AP can go straight through the sides. And in fact, it can even go through the front really easy if you're facing them. That's why I say that the only real way to use the frontal armor on this thing is to come out sharply angled and only expose your front plates. Now, I did say the gun is pretty good, and it is, but it does have a couple flaws. The accuracy is alright. If you let the gun aim, which by the way, it has a very nice H time. Watch this shot. Very nice. If you let it aim just a second or two, it'll hit the shot just about every time. But if you don't, it's more of a 50-50% chance whether you'll make the snapshot or not. This thing isn't really the king of snapshots. And sometimes even if you aim, it will do a wild thing and just shoot off somewhere else. That's to be expected, though. And as I said before, the turret traverse is slow, so that sometimes is hard to get the gun around without turning the hull. Keep that in mind. And a big drawback of this thing is while it is fairly mobile, it's not that mobile. Top speed is 42 kilometers an hour, and usually you won't get up to that top speed. Big problem with that is that it's sort of like a heavy tank in that you have to pick a direction and stay with that. And if it's not the direction you should have gone in, well, you're kind of stuck in a bad situation because it's not as easy to turn around and go somewhere else because it's slow. It's definitely not like the Hellcat in speed. So to summarize, good things. Armor is good. Sloped well. The turret, it has a turret, which is nice, and the gun is pretty nice. However, the armor is not thick. The gun could be better, and the speed is and even the traverse speed is meh. So it's not bad. You just gotta know how to use it right. And that's what I mean right there. You see how I rushed the shot in the KB2 and it dipped right into the ground. It's really important to let this thing aim. Now, while I'm busy dying here, I'm going to tell you a few quick things about what you should get on this tank. First of all, gun rammer. Really nice to help get that reload up. If you really want to, you could get, I don't remember what they call it, the aiming equipment for this thing. Gosh, I should really know this by now. But you get that, and that'll help your gun. Definitely get camo net on this thing, because with the turret, it's a really awesome thing to have, because it means you can sit behind a bush, turn the turret, and shoot multiple targets without dropping your camo net. And this thing behind a camo net, with camo on the tank and behind a bush, is really hard to spot. It's really fun to use that. For provisions, pretty simple. Double rations. Standard fuel if you want to save some money, but if you don't care, go ahead and put on improved fuel. Now, these next two clips are going to be sped up because they're just a couple concepts I want to get in. So, first of all, I'm going to do something wrong in both these clips, and our team's going to lose. And I want you to see if you can figure out what I'm doing wrong. So, what I've done here is I've pushed up to the front line, basically, trying to cap A and see if there's anyone there. I was really just trying to cap A, and I figured most of the team would follow me, but it didn't exactly work out that way. Really need to pay attention to the minimap more. Please, if you drive this thing, pay attention to the minimap. It'll help you a lot. So, now we're kind of in a crossfire because there's tanks on my right, which, by the way, are going to push up on me soon, and there it goes. This thing does not do well when it's pushed up on. So what happened there was I pushed up to the front line. Not everyone that I thought was going to be there was there. Got caught in a crossfire, couldn't focus on the targets that needed to be focused on. Got pushed on and died. So that's what happened to that. And by the way, that was a tier 7 game, so it probably wasn't the smartest thing to push all the way up there. Anyway, after this poor KV-13's dead, we're going to move on to the next clip. And quick, one thing I want to point out. See how much money I earned? See how much damage I did? Even if you lose a battle, if you did a lot of damage, you'll earn good money. So make sure you put in your damage. Alright, so this one, as I said, it's another loss, and I'm doing something wrong. So watch what I do at the start of the battle. Technically, it's a tier 7 game, but it's mainly tier 6s. So what my thought process here was, I'll just push all the way out here because I don't think there's going to be anyone out here. And then I could snipe across wherever. And that was a terrible decision to make, assuming that there would be no one out here, because obviously now there is someone out here, and I got hit for 2 times. And you can see right there, lovely gun work, sniping the hatch of the T25 AT. Now watch what's about to happen here, alright? Just kind of getting pecked to death, and then just kind of fiddling around, figuring out what to do with life, and then that happens. So what happened was exactly the same as what happened last time. I'd gotten a crossfire, and instead of getting pushed on, I just died because of that crossfire. And the rest of the team just falls apart because they can't deal with multiple tanks in different areas and getting stressed like that. So what did I do wrong? I rushed ahead to the front line, and I rushed past the front line. First of all, if you're in a tier 6 battle, do not push past the front line. Doesn't even matter what tier you're in, really. Just don't push past the front line. If you're in a tier 6 battle, usually you can push to the front line, depending on the situation, but be cautious. this thing is not a frontline tank. And if you're in a tier 7 game, usually forget about pushing to the front line. You want to be a second line tank. This battle is a little different. All of our team has agreed to go this one direction, and I've seen, I don't know if everyone else has seen it, but I've seen their team, has only one really mobile tank, and that is the Comet, who has made a very bad decision to push this flank all by himself. And he's going to pay for it with his life in a couple of seconds. So as you can see, we're pretty much pushing all the way through here, and that Comet's about to go down. Goodbye. So I'm going to use this hill, and I didn't mention this before, but the gun depression on this thing is actually pretty good. So I'm going to use several things here. First of all, I'm going to let it aim so I can get the hatch on the AT7. Very nice. And I am going to get spotted, but I'm going to try to use my camo nets here to put in shots without being seen, because if you sit still long enough, wait for it, look out there above my health bar, there will be a camo net pop up. There it is. So I am at the front line, but why am I there when I said you shouldn't be? That's because my whole team pushed to the front line. And when I take a shot at these tanks all over here, I duck back immediately. So I am at the front line, but I'm being very careful. However, our team is doing pretty well. In fact, in a couple seconds, there are going to be quite a few tanks down. And what's happened, instead of me and my team being in the crossfire, we're starting to put them in a corner and them in a crossfire. So when this thing is doing pretty well and the team is doing with you and you're doing lots of teamwork, this thing can be quite aggressive at the end and really put the pain into other enemies. So to summarize this thing up, be cautious, be smart, don't go to the front lines unless your team does, look for opportunities to do the right thing. So that's about it for this thing. Very nice tank, very nice transition to the next tank. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video. See you on the Blitz Zone.